The British Academy Awards is an annual award show hosted by the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, in short BAFTA, to honor the best British and international contributions to film. Think of it as the British equivalent of the Academy Awards in the US, also known as the Oscars. BAFTA is a very prestigious award. Since 2004, 11 BAFTA ceremonies have also taken place to honor outstanding creative achievement in the video games industry. Many professionals in the film industry worldwide have been outraged about this decision, most notably the late legendary film critic Roger Ebert. Is this public outrage justified at all? Are games condemned to remain in the shadow of filmmaking for eternity? Can games even be considered art? These are some of the questions we will answer in this video. Let's begin. Did you know that video games are officially 50 years old already? That's right, the first so-called video game, Pong, was released almost 50 years ago, in November 1972. Gaming has been with us for a long time, captivating generation after generation, always shifting and evolving into the myriad of game genres and gaming platforms we know today. Over the past 5 decades, many games have taken on the role of providing us with rich storytelling, sometimes involving social themes far beyond the simple role of entertainment or pastime activities. Storytelling in so-called interactive media is quite different from the passive entertainment provided by watching a movie. In games that tell a story, you control the character's actions and in most cases their decisions. That is a key difference that involves the player on a whole other level and makes them identify with the character and the story much more than taking a movie character's actions for granted and just going along with them. Games like BioShock, Mass Effect 2, The Last of Us, or Life is Strange have become staples of video game culture and not by chance have been nominated for or received one of the British Academy Games Awards over the years. However, not everybody agreed with this new category of awards from what was primarily a prestigious film academy. One of the most outspoken about this decision was the film critic Roger Ebert, who claimed that video games can never be art. Following this comment on his blog in the year 2005, Mr. Ebert received countless messages sparking a debate over whether the relatively new medium of video games could be considered art at all. So not unlike old debates from almost a century ago, whether films could ever be considered art as well, at least over the first decades of that then new medium still being in its infancy. Roger Ebert considered games to be an inferior storytelling medium to those of filmmaking and literature. This was in part due to games allowing players to make story-changing choices. He said, "There is a structural reason for this." He answered one of the comments on his blog. Video games, he continues, video games by their nature require player choices, which is the opposite of the strategy in serious film and literature, which requires authorial control. I believe the nature of the medium prevents it from moving beyond craftsmanship to the stature of art. He ended his answer with, "For most gamers, video games represent a loss of those precious hours we have available to make ourselves more cultivated, civilized, and empathetic." The debate raged on and on for years, but nothing was solved except some people pounding their fists on their tables. In 2011, following a TEDx talk by Kelly Santiago, a game company owner, naming 3 games that she considered already qualified as an art form, Mr. Ebert came at it again and predicted that no video gamer now alive will survive long enough to experience the medium as an art form. Brian Moriarty, creator of the legendary game Loom, took the stage at the Game Development Conference, in short the GDC, in 2011 to deliver a thoughtful defense of Mr. Ebert's industry-stirring sentiment. In his speech, Mr. Moriarty observed that Games have been with us for millennia, and that in the 2500 years of recorded written literature, never have games such as chess and Go, arguably two of the greatest games ever made, been considered art. It is a great talk that I will link in the description of the video for you to watch, if you so wish. So, over the past decade, there has been an ongoing debate if video games should be considered art or not. Let's see what BAFTA Games committee member Phil Stewart has to say about this. I will quote a couple of paragraphs and leave the link to the entire article in the video description below. Film and television have long been seen as legitimate and powerful means to educate, inspire and empower wider society. But what about games? As our younger industry matures, what role should games play in reflecting and commenting on the world around us? Games are brilliant at engendering empathy by allowing you to experience the life of other people firsthand. BAFTA-winning game Life is Strange, for story in 2016, cast the player as a teenage girl in what appears to be a very ordinary town. The episodic experience revolutionized story-based choice and consequence games, but what makes this game different is how it deftly tackles issues rarely touched on in traditional games. Through its story and characters, the game explores identity, bullying, suicide, teen pregnancy, love, friendship, and everyday dilemmas, which not only add authenticity and depth to the experience, but heighten the player's emotional resonance to this beautifully realized adventure. By doing this, by championing the breadth of what games have to offer, we will broaden industry and external perceptions of what games are and move towards the cultural cachet already widely enjoyed by TV and film. I went through this just to show you opposing views and to point your attention towards the conclusion of Mr. Stewart. The debate of if games should be considered art or not is really a red herring. Due to the intrinsic nature of the medium, games should only be considered art due to the hubris of some video game creators who, for some reason, feel this anxiety that they should wear the mantle of great artists. Games have their role in the entertainment industry, just like TV or film does. However, the way they are enjoyed is quite different than books, paintings, literature, or classical music. There is also a much narrower demographic cohort to share your gaming experiences with. Game developers should release themselves from the anxiety of overcoming film in becoming the next great art form. Gaming forms its own subculture, with its own great experiences and memories no other medium can provide really. The gamer world is full of colorful people from all walks of life, with great stories to tell. And surprise, surprise, you can talk art with many of them that are cultured and well-read. No one should dismiss a balance in all things. They consider life and cultivate themselves with a healthy mix of the various art forms readily available all around us. Video games are an industry, a very big industry. An industry makes products, preferably products that sell. And my friends, product art cannot be considered what philosophers might have called sublime art. Product art, sublime art. As Mr. Moriarty says in his presentation, An Apology for Roger Ebert, we shouldn't expect publicly traded game studios nowadays to produce anything but product art or kitsch. However, we shouldn't readily dismiss small indie studios, which sometimes surprise us in a pleasant way, offering us something more akin to what might call a sublime experience. However, do not forget that indie developers are companies as well, most of them under a very tight budget and even more pressure to succeed and attain commercial success. What is the result then? More of what sells and less of the risky and innovative also for indie studios. Personally, during my 30 years playing video games, it never occurred to me to consider games art before stumbling on the ongoing debate I've based my video upon. I've always considered games to be a form of entertainment and, first and foremost, fun. Fun of varying quality depending on the game played and how well it aligned with my personal taste, of course. Entertainment has been with humankind for thousands of years. We people need entertainment and distractions since we are not robots or automatons, or not yet anyway. As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Talking about art is like dancing about architecture. Art is more something you feel than something someone tells you to feel. Can video games be considered art? Well, if BAFTA can consider them as such, why not then? As long as we take everything in moderation and observe a healthy balance between games and other forms of art or entertainment, be they film, literature, music, paintings, or sculptures, a balance which would help us develop into, as Mr. Ebert was saying, more cultivated, civilized, and empathetic beings. Or in more practical terms, if you wish, more healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you think in the comments, and remember, a like and a share go a long way. Thank you for watching, and let's keep the discussion going. Take care out there. See you next time. Bye.